Roshni finds Sachin's phone. Sayali breaks down. Tejas gets praised, but truth hidden. Will Sachin find out in time? What is Roshni planning with Chitti? Watch the full episode to uncover the drama, the secrets, and the relationships hanging by a thread. The episode opens on a warm, affectionate moment between Sachin and Sayali. With a playful laugh, Sachin tells Sayali how his grandmother used to always say he looked just like a hero ever since he was a child. Sayali smiles sweetly at this and agrees, saying that his grandmother wasn't wrong. He truly does look like a hero. In a light-hearted tone, she adds that she hopes no evil eye befalls him and proceeds to lovingly ward off the Nazar from him. Sachin, ever the playful one, responds that it's his turn now and insists on doing the same for her. He gently asks her to sit down and starts warding off evil from her hands, her beautiful eyes, her steps, and even her nose, saying that he can't take a chance with any part of her. Sayali bursts into laughter at his dramatic gesture and teasingly calls him a Nautanki master. Their cozy moment takes a shift when Sachin brings up a party they recently attended. Sayali admits that everyone's eyes were on him that evening. Sachin agrees, but mentions something that has been bugging him. He felt like Roshni's friend Shikha was staring at him too much. Sayali is taken aback and asks how he figured that out. With a mischievous grin, Sachin says that every time he looked in Shikha's direction, she was already staring at him. Sayali doesn't find this funny and gets slightly annoyed, accusing him of ogling another woman. Sachin tries to defend himself, saying it wasn't intentional and he merely noticed it. Sayali, still slightly miffed, decides to let the matter rest and says they'll discuss it tomorrow because she's sleepy. Sachin, wanting to hold on to her a bit longer, pleads for 5 more minutes of her time. She agrees, and he softly tells her that 5 minutes with her feel like seconds. But the same time without her feels endless. Sayali teases him again, saying that he's sounding like a poet now, instead of the practical man she married. Sachin asks if that means she doesn't like his poetic side, to which she responds that it's not like that at all. The two sit quietly, holding hands and gazing into each other's eyes, lost in their own little world. Meanwhile, the scene cuts to Roshni, who looks restless. She thinks to herself how difficult it will be to execute her plan as long as Sayali is awake. She needs to get her hands on a specific phone, and time is running out. The next morning begins with Paresh stepping out of his room. Sayali offers him tea, but he refuses, saying he has to head out for his morning walk. Sayali then politely asks if she can open the door to water the plants. Paresh, surprised, says there's no need to ask. Watering the plants is part of her daily routine. Sayali reminds him that 3 of the boys are still asleep outside, and she didn't want to wake them up. Paresh nods and opens the door himself, only to be stunned by what he sees. Sachin, Aasha, and Tejas are sprawled on the floor, deeply asleep, looking like they hadn't moved all night. Paresh chuckles and comments to Sayali, "Look at my 3 princes, completely scattered." He proceeds to wake them up, splashing water to snap them out of their slumber. When Aasha is told to wake Tejas, the latter resists, still drowsy, claiming that it's his bedroom and accusing everyone of invading his privacy. Aasha reminds him they all passed out outside the previous night. Paresh is furious. He lashes out at Tejas for being irresponsible, reminding him that people who want to be successful in business shouldn't be found drunk and unconscious like this. Tejas tries to make excuses, claiming he had no choice and insisting that now he's even more powerful than before. Paresh doesn't buy his story. He scolds him further, saying success doesn't come from drunkenness but from responsibility. He's especially disappointed because he had already seen one son go down this path, and now watching all 3 makes him feel completely hopeless. He issues a strict warning this was their final mistake, and if it happens again, the consequences will be severe. All 3 boys, ashamed, promise not to repeat their actions. As the situation calms, Paresh tells them to prepare for work. Aasha heads inside immediately, and Tejas is about to follow when Renuka stops him. She sternly tells him not to invite Sachin to his parties anymore. Just then, Roshni walks up and leads Tejas away. Sachin, meanwhile, tries to explain himself to Paresh. He insists he didn't drink and even warned Akash and Tejas, but it was Santoshi Sir who influenced them. Paresh, unimpressed, tells him that when your own actions aren't clean, no one believes your words. He advises Sachin to fix himself first before trying to correct others, and then walks away. Sayali, clearly upset, confronts Sachin. "So you're happy now, making Uncle worry like this?" she says. "I tell you every time, but you never listen. Now you see the result." Sachin looks confused and tries to calm her. He reminds her that she was with him the whole night and didn't seem this angry then. Sayali argues that people will obviously assume he's the one who encouraged drinking because of his past. Sachin, frustrated, says he told her 100 times it wasn't his fault. He was just drinking water while Akash and Tejas were already drunk when he joined them. Eventually, he also gave in because he was too stressed due to that drunkard. Sayali doesn't soften. She tells him blaming others won't help. If he had any self-control, he wouldn't be in this mess. Sachin folds his hands and pleads for forgiveness, insisting again that it wasn't his fault this time. Then, with a sheepish smile, he asks if she can make him a cup of tea, promising to listen to all her scoldings afterward. Sayali sighs and says she'll water the plants first, then make tea. Sachin nods and walks away quietly. Elsewhere, Roshni unleashes her anger on Tejas. She tells him how his careless behavior has led people to compare him with Sachin, tarnishing his image. Tejas snaps back, telling her to spare him the lecture. He says he had no choice but to drink because of Santoshi Sir and that everyone was praising him at the event. At home, though, all he got was criticism. He bitterly remarks that even after becoming such a big businessman, his father made him sleep outside, and that humiliation kept him up all night. Roshni is not convinced. She accuses him of lying, claiming she saw him herself, hiding behind plants and sleeping off his intoxication. Tejas insists he was only tired and didn't argue out of respect for his father. Roshni warns him if he ever pulls a stunt like that again in the name of business, the consequences will be severe. Trying to escape the conversation, Tejas mentions that he needs to drop Santoshi Sir at the airport. As he starts to leave, Roshni pulls his coat off and tells him to take a bath first. Tejas, surprised, asks if that's how she helps him now. Roshni smirks and says she's just being helpful. He rolls his eyes and heads to the bathroom. As soon as he disappears, Roshni checks his coat pocket and finds what she was desperately looking for, Sachin's phone. Her face lights up as she quickly unlocks it and locates the video she's been seeking. With a triumphant smile, she whispers to herself that all her problems are now over. With this video, she can finally eliminate the PI from her life once and for all. Back in the kitchen, Sayali serves tea to Sachin. He takes a sip and jokingly remarks that the tea is a bit bland. Sayali narrows her eyes, clearly not in the mood for jokes. Sachin quickly corrects himself and laughs, trying to ease the tension. But Sayali gives him a look that says, "Not today." Sachin felt Sayali's stare when she muttered, locking her eyes on him. "If you drink that strong all night, of course your tea is going to taste bland." He opened his hands, trying to make her understand. "The problem," he said softly, "wasn't really the alcohol, Sayali. It was last night. Baba made me sleep on the bare ground outside. There wasn't even a pillow. That's what caused this pain in my neck." Sayali's face flashed with resolve. She pivoted to him and said firmly, "Baba was right. And if you ever do something like that again, I'll make sure I myself make you sleep outside." The hurt lines on Sachin's forehead softened. He nodded. "I admit it. The mistake was mine. I promise you, I won't make it again." Almost at that moment, a small group of people arrived at the house carrying garlands made of fresh flowers. They asked hurriedly for Roshni and demanded to see Tejas. Roshni, composed yet guarded, stepped outside and invited them in. Renuka followed, voice trembling slightly as she asked Roshni who these strangers were. Roshni answered evenly, "They have come to meet Tejas." Renuka's heart skipped. A part of her mind whispered that maybe these were men sent by those looking for money or by Taware, people she distrusted. Across the room, Sachin nudged Sayali lightly, voice teasing. "So many came bearing garlands. Is Tejas in trouble? Are they going to garland him, or worse, beat him? Like the blanket beating they sometimes talk about?" Sayali hid a small laugh. Renuka, voice soft but firm, told Sayali to fetch water for the guests. Sayali did without complaint, walking among the visitors with cups of water, serving with quiet dignity. Paresh stepped forward, gesturing for them to sit. The visitors were adamant. They would meet Tejas first, nothing else mattered. Roshni, seeing the tension, guided Tejas into the hall. Tejas's eyes widened at the sight of the strangers. He shifted, attempting to slip away, but Roshni stood firm, holding him in place. As he stood before them, the visitors broke into applause and joy, placing a garland around his neck, beaming praise. Tejas froze, stunned. One man spoke up, "In just 100 days, Tejas has taken the dealership for the entire state. That's no small feat." Another added, "In 10 years, I haven't achieved what you have achieved in a few months. At such a young age, very commendable." Tejas breathed out a sigh of relief, smiling as the weight of validation settled in. He looked toward Roshni and Renuka, voice catching. "Finally, someone recognized what I've done." The guests returned compliments to Paresh and Renuka, telling them they should be very proud of their son. Renuka's eyes glowed. "Yes," she replied, "I am so proud. I always knew." Sayali seized the moment, turning to Sachin and quietly murmured, "Tejas got this dealership because of your hard work and integrity, yet not once did Kaku mention your name." Sachin shrugged, unbothered. "Credit chasing credit has never been my thing." Meanwhile, Akash cornered Riya and said under his breath, "All the work has been Sachin Dada's, and yet Tejas is getting the praise." Riya squeezed his hand, urging him to let it go, to not let it become a fight in front of everyone. The visitors, one by one, blessed Tejas and predicted even greater heights for him. Renuka, a soft pride in her voice, said, "His horoscope was always special. He was destined for greatness." Just as they were leaving, a last man called out, "Now you have such a large dealership. Don't forget the smaller traders. Be fair to all." Tejas stood up straight, confidence lighting his features. "Of course," he assured. "Send your proposals. I will look through the showroom and reply properly." The guests departed, flowers and garlands fading into memory, but their words still echoed. As soon as the door clicked shut behind them, Renuka turned to Paresh, chest rising with triumph. "You see," she said, "I told you my son would become the biggest businessman one day. No one took me seriously before. Today people come all the way here bringing flowers to honor him." Paresh smiled, a mixture of pride and mild regret in his eyes. "Yes, I admit, I often lose patience with him. But every parent, every mother and father hopes for progress, not perfection. Today I am truly happy. I hope he uses this chance well." Renuka nodded, certain. Tejas, in his own way, stood a little taller. He turned to his mother, voice cocky but affectionate. "Now that I'm successful and respected, you should maybe stop calling me Kaka all the time. Op or Tum sounds more fitting, Mum." Paresh chuckled, shaking his head gently. "No matter what, you'll always be my child," he said. Renuka echoed the same. But Tejas didn't let go of his stance. He half smiled, half demanding that from now on, respect should come with address. Then Sachin, unable to resist a jab, called out, "Baba, I think your senior's wife should be addressed as Sir in public. Since so many came calling him Sir today, maybe you become a big kahuna." Tejas smiled at that, but Sachin pushed further. "Do you really think 4 guests garlanding you make you a big cannon? Remember, before a goat is sacrificed, it is also decorated with garlands and tika. Afterwards, it's still the sacrifice." Akash, aligning with Sachin's teasing mood, added, "And you never know. Those who came might be there to show respect or to seek it, or maybe to ask for something in return." Renuka glared at Akash and Tejas. Tejas bristled. Renuka signaled Akash with her eyes to be quiet. Sachin's voice softened into suspicion. "I wonder if those praising you are real businessmen, or sent by someone with an agenda." Tejas' eyes caught anger. "I'm not a small-time operator," he snapped. "This is just the beginning. Bigger people will come." Sachin's retort was tongue-in-cheek. "Outsiders don't know what kind of fraud or thief they might be glorifying." Tejas tried to hush him, but Renuka stepped in. Let it be, she said. Sachin's words come from jealousy, not criticism. Sayali, mustering courage, leaned forward. It's not jealousy, she said, voice steady. It's about fairness. It's about naming the person who did the hard work. Sachin raised a hand. Stop, Sayali, he said gently. He walked over to Tejas then, in mock musical style, singing a tease. Work hard, salute everyone, or else the world won't let you live. After he finished his little song, he turned and walked away, giving Tejas a sharp, knowing look. Tejas, hurt and frustrated, turned to Roshni. Did you hear how he spoke to me just now? Roshni smiled, but not unkindly. Ignore him, Tejas. Sachin's criticism sometimes stings, but there's always truth in it. She glanced at Sayali. Time changes people. What was once small becomes big. Later, Sayali brought breakfast for Sachin in their room. He sat down with the plate but kept glancing around. Sayali, noticing his restlessness, asked, "What is it, Sachin?" He frowned. "My phone hasn't rung all morning. It's never happened before." Sayali felt a knot in her stomach. She jumped up and began searching. The table, no phone. The chair, no phone. Under the bed, nothing. Sachin grew anxious. He muttered that his phone never leaves his side. He asked Sayali where she thought he might have left it last. She recalled then that perhaps he had kept it in his coat pocket. Together, they searched his coat, but the phone was gone. Sayali tried to calm him. "We'll find it somewhere," she said gently. But Sachin's worry deepened. He rushed through the corridors, into the hall, retracing steps. Sayali suggested the kitchen. Maybe the cleaners had shifted something. But no, the kitchen had been cleaned already, nothing there. Finally, Sachin asked for Sayali's phone to try calling his. The call went unanswered. The phone was switched off. His shoulders sagged. Sayali's voice trembled. "Maybe the battery died?" she offered. Sachin shook his head. "This isn't just any phone for me." In Sayali's mind, confusion and fear mingled. What secret lay in that phone that made him so desperate? Meanwhile, unaware, Roshni stood by the door, listening to every panicked word. Her lips curled into a satisfied smile inside. She felt vindicated. That phone wasn't just a device, it was her key to freedom. And soon, very soon, she would use it. But first she had to meet Chitti. Sachin then called Anyaya, voice tight with urgency. "My phone's lost. Meet me," he said. Anyaya agreed, and Sachin said he'd reach in 20 minutes. Turning to Sayali, he hesitated, then said, "Can you tell me, why is that phone so important?" He tried to hide the truth, fabricating that it had all his business contacts, his clients' numbers, photos, memories with Sayali, with their life. Losing it would mean more than losing a tool. It would mean losing pieces of their world. Then he decided he must go back to the party venue, check the security cameras there, meet Anyaya in person. With a resolve that trembled in his chest, he left. Behind him, Roshni whispered to herself, "Sachin, go where you must. I earned this phone with blood and tears. It is my pathway out, my way forward. But first, Chitti must be made to join me." And with that, today's episode comes to an end. Love, ambition, betrayal, secrets ready to spill.